Hey guys, Richard at Right Room here doing my latest Star Wars video. This giant pile here, I include all the other ones I've done. I've started some recently and there's loads I haven't reviewed yet. So yeah, this is like a nice little reminder, everything that's there. Hopefully it won't all fall down. So let's start with what I've just finished. I'm going to itch my nose. The Living Force. This is by the guys that have several Star Wars books, John Jackson Miller, so you can sort of see behind, well, you can't, boxes everywhere, but there is one, in fact, slightly in view. The orangey-ish one is, second most, is actually the Obi-Wan book, one that he wrote. He did the first of the Disney canon books, New Dawn, which is pretty good. I read that a few of it back in 2021. I might give that a read again sometime if I rebuy it. And yeah, Lost Tribe of the Sith, which is a series of books I'll be getting on my birthday. But yeah. Turns out he hasn't been a Star Wars book for 10 years. So once I heard that he was doing a new one, obviously the author was good. Not my favourite, that's still James Luceno. But yeah, I've not read a bad book of his. I thought I'd give this one a go. And yeah, as you can see, it's the hardback. I got the sleeve on now, but since I started reading, I had the sleeve off. Even at home, I dare not take it with me in case I damage it, particularly going away. But yeah, even just on my lap, I could rip it. So decided not to, because of course the problem is when you're reading at work or somewhere, no one notices what you're reading unless you actually look at the spine when it's written on. Then you miss out the cool covers like some guy I was talking to. I've only seen the originals, but I mentioned our prequels too. In fact, I was involved in Jedi Council, and oops. But yeah, it's a bad time. I should edit this out. Not picking my nose, I'm just rubbing it, as you can see. Okay, so on to it then. So yeah, it's a year before Phantom Menace. It's as you can see, it's the entire Jedi Council, which is pretty cool. Like, well, the one in Phantom Menace, it does, not really a spoiler, but it changes slightly from film 1 to 3. And it's just about them. So first of all, spoilers, everything up to this point. Nothing past this one. When I say spoiler up to Phantom Menace, no more than that. But yeah, you can tell this is built around that so-called High Republic. The pre-Phantom Menace era they've been focusing on. Some people like it, some people don't. I've never seen the point in this because, frankly, barring what the Sith are doing in the shadows, nothing really happens in that point. So I'm not sure why they built an entire era around it. Also, why would it always when the Republic and then the in the from the EU, from the sequel trilogy, Disney trilogy, original trilogy onwards, they was called the Republic, the Old Republic. And of course, books, games, etc., set around this time, like the 2000s, called the Old Republic, like the really old era, like 3,000 years before the Knights of the Old Republic era, etc. So I always figured it was just the Old Republic from 1,000 years ago, the Republic, which would then just be called the Old Republic after it became the Empire, and then the New Republic. So yeah, why they would suddenly start calling an era the High Republic, and then I don't know. Sometime later they're just calling it the Republic. Like, why? I mean, yeah, Republic falls apart due to mass corruption, etc. But the government never got overthrown. When you always just call it the High Republic, why did you suddenly go from, I don't know, let's say 500 years before Battle of Yavin, the High Republic, and then 100 years before it's just the Republic? Like, why would you change it? Even if the Republic is falling apart so badly and people are noticing it, why would they then call it a different thing? I don't ever understand that. It's probably there to explain in all the books, TV shows, comics, but I've never been bothered. But yeah, it doesn't harm the enjoyment. It didn't harm my enjoyment too much, but I found that with this, I'd probably get benefits from reading them, a bit more. But then again, same sort of thing with this book here, Darth Plagueis. That's filled with EU references. I'll go into my next review. But having read all the EU leading up to Phantom Menace in the last few years, this book is filled with reference to it, and I absolutely loved it. But when I first read this, 2012, and then again since from 2020, before, I didn't know any of the references, and it didn't harm the enjoyment whatsoever. So same with this. I've still found the book really enjoyable. When they start talking about all the big events that took place in the High Republic, like the Great, etc., this and that. Yeah, I was like, yeah, okay, I'd like to know what that is, but they all talk about Jedi outposts and stuff. So disadvantage for sure, but it doesn't really harm it too much. Similar thing with Darth Plagueis. They're nice little references to, I don't know, Darth Bane and Darth Zana, but I found first time reading this, like, okay, sounds good, but I was never that bothered about checking it out. Similar thing with this. So yeah, you benefit definitely from knowing the High Republic lore, but like Darth Plagueis, if you don't, it doesn't harm it at all. But so nice things, I suppose, go look up, but I'm really not that interested. I don't see a point in a set of stories leading up to Phantom Menace when we kind of know nothing happens. The Sith work in the shadows till they eventually, get their revenge. That's pretty much it. And the Force falls out of balance, Republic falls into decline, etc. I don't really see the point in telling a story where everything is amazing and to what just gradually lead into it getting worse. I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, maybe some people like it more than others. I don't know. I've just thought, the first Star Wars books we got, minus that Splinter of the Mind's Eye, continued the story of the original trilogy. You got 5 years after Return of the Jedi, this stuff happens, which is great. And it makes me wonder with Disney, why are we not getting 5 years after Episode 9? I'm guessing Disney just declared it off limits for authors so they can eventually continue the story, which they're now doing. But maybe that's why they got the Phantom Menace. But what I like about TV shows is we're getting a lot of the dark times, so the Empire, which I saw a good point on Star Wars Forum recently, actually. Like, most of the books were just a year after Avengers Sith, the year before New Hope, with like 17 years unaccounted for. And yeah, they're right. There really isn't that much built around then. Again, is it off limits or something? Who knows? But yeah, it's nice that we're getting a lot of projects, e.g. Andor, set in that gap at last. Some bad, Obi-Wan, some great, Andor. So yeah, it's nice to see that. And that's kind of the era I imagine people would have wanted stuff, though. The dark times after Return of the Jedi. Well, after Return of the Jedi sold, it kept the Star Wars going, if I hear right, after the films, before the prequels. But yeah, anyway, it's clearly referencing it. But if you like it, if you've read the High Republic stuff and you enjoy it, you will. If not, I don't think it matters in any way, to be honest. But yeah, so let's get on to the book then. So obviously, it's the entire Jedi Council, all 12 members. I won't bother going for the names, it'll take ages. And look it up. Obviously, you got the obvious ones: Yoda, Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Plo Koon. I've no idea why Jedi gets hold their lightsabers. You assume they show Mace's one because it's purple and stands out. But yeah, some of them just felt like they're the background prequel members, and some get the actual storyline. Some, like Plo Koon, get their stories massively expanded in the Clone Wars. Others are just bigger in the books, like Yaddle, and then others are primarily film focused and books like Yoda. So yeah, you got all of those. And the one criticism I'd say is this: it's 12 main characters in a 400-page book. 400 pages is definitely like length, but 12 characters. That's a lot. And sure enough, most don't really get to anything. To be fair, there's no favouritism, e.g. Filoni's worship of Plo Koon, expense to say Ki-Adi-Mundi, who was more easily like the third main council member before Obi-Wan was on it in the films. Yeah, so we've got so it's not really the case with this, that everyone is somewhat even. Maybe Depa Billaba, she might get most to do in this, but that's kind of the problem. Everyone is even, as in doesn't do a huge amount. And then you've got another two characters, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. It's a year before Phantom Menace. You got to see those two because they're obviously great ones. Qui-Gon is a huge part of Phantom Menace and like the larger Star Wars lore. So that's 14 main characters. Then everything else that goes on. You've got the pirate group Depa ends up becoming involved with and attempt to stop them. Got like the villain is part of her story. Then you've got this child who helps her. There's minor characters. You get the Zabrak, who's not Aegon Kolar, the one from episode 3, but a totally different one. Eve Koth. I'm hinting at a romance with a woman. Maybe that's why he's not on the council episode. I think, is it 2 or definitely not 3, maybe 2. Maybe he gets kicked out of the order or leaves. I really need to look up the Lost Jedi, the 20 masters that left the order, with Dooku being the 20th one, who was 19th. But yeah, it's just too many characters. A great idea showing, all the council members. Let's just get to the basic plot. The Jedi Council basically feel they've lost touch with the common people. There are Jedi outposts that are being closed down. Planets obviously no longer getting. I don't know why they're doing that. Again, it's probably High Republic stuff, and yeah, it's I don't really want to look it up. It's like in the films, like this trilogy is famous for, oh, this don't make sense, we'll write a book about it, which explains it later. Oh, and then pay up to hello. So it's kind of similar there. But yeah, Jedi outposts are being closed. They go to one to celebrate its anniversary, and end up like basically becoming all targets a mass like pirate coalition attack. So the Jedi, spoiler, but Jedi stop it and they capture the leader. She gets sent down for her crimes. And you kind of just got like the Jedi Council are there, they work out what's going on, they work together, they stop. No, there's no like major losses or anything. One Jedi's been murdered, one of Depa's old students, and she like basically discovers who it is, the person gets caught, and that's pretty much it. It's a good story. It's nice seeing what them all interact. Yeah, the author does a good job of making sure each character kind of gets their own own personality. They're all different enough from each other. Lots of references to other Star Wars. Lots of lines that Obi-Wan would say. Sith Lords are our speciality from episode 3. Something else is our speciality. You get a lot of stuff like that, which is kind of cool. Clone Wars era spoiler here. There's a Jedi called Kanan Jarrus, or Caleb Dume. Depa mentions at the end that she feels like even as a council member she should take on her own student. That's that character, which is quite cool. So yeah, there's good stuff that goes in there. There's not a huge amount to say about the book, really. Very well written, but ultimately putting too much of a nod to the High Republic. Again, like I said with Darth Plagueis, I don't hear it too much, but it makes you feel like you need to know this stuff. I mean, Darth Plagueis, it's similar, but I think Darth Plagueis handles it a bit better. With this, it feels like if you don't know about all these big events, the hyperspace lanes like falling apart in the High Republic era, etc. All the big, the various outposts, the Jedi or the Jedi ally who's sort of guarding the main one before it gets closed down. But yeah, that's also the bit bugging me at the ending. It gets closed down. Like the Jedi stop what the pirates wanted to do, and the place gets really badly damaged. Rather than rebuild it, no, we'll let it close. People can light it, as anyone can light it as they go along. We'll keep Jedi around, but it won't be the same. And the person in charge seems a bit bothered, and he kind of just relents. Okay, fair enough. And then cool moment at the ending, he's conversing by hologram with Senator Palpatine, who basically starts telling him, the Jedi are failing, all bad things are going to happen, etc. And he's like, well, well done. I know you told Jedi these objects were stolen, but it's good that you sold them. And then he's like, well, yes, but why are you telling me this now? I was talking to him. And a red tattooed Zabrak shows up and kills him. It's like, whoa, that was unexpected. But yeah, the Alan Jedi was working with Palpatine. Okay, what the hell? But yeah, it seems a bit odd. He's his base gets destroyed, they don't rebuild it, and then he's happy with that, and then suddenly he dies. Well, presumably dies. Just a bit of an odd ending. But yeah, there were good moments. But my main issue is too many characters. Maybe there's got to be a two-parter. Maybe, I mean, they sort of get around it by pairing the characters. It's very rare for one person to be on his or her own. It's mainly just pairing them together a lot of the time. Like Seize Tin and Plo Koon are together a lot. That sort of gets around it. But yeah, I love the idea of focus on the council, how they think, how they realise they are losing touch with the common people, etc. But yeah, maybe it should be a two-parter. Who knows? Maybe he'll write of one. So yeah, it's overall a decent book, and I think the High Republic focus is a bit of an issue. I knew it would be there, but yeah, it's definitely distracting in that sense. This will just reference a character from an EU book or story. And if you read it, great. If not, that's not really a big deal. This kind of depends on it a bit too much. So yeah, it's not a disaster or anything, but I think it is an issue. So yeah, that's it then. So either way, good read. And I've got to admit, this was the first Star Wars book I was quite hyped for ages, because last Star Wars books in Disney canon I bought were already out. Three of the books here, the young adult Padme trilogy. When I was interested in them, the last one was on its way, but that's definitely two already out. Other ones which I loved, Tarkin, bought years after it came out. To see if I liked, again, was already out. Not interested at all in the High Republic. Whatever they make next, definitely be interested in that, depending on who it is. I've always wondered what about sort of going with Darth Plagueis, where's the Count Dooku story? But I worry that now they're changing things with the timeline. It won't feel great. This felt like, barring the High Republic stuff, it could have been released 10 years ago as the expanded universe, now Legends. So yeah, definitely a good book. I don't regret buying it. I wouldn't have wanted to wait half a year or so for paperback. And yeah, I had other books to read, so even though I got this ordered on day one, I wouldn't have read it then anyway. I had others to do. But yeah, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the review, as unstructured and rambly as it got. I'm sure I contradicted myself about the whole continuity thing with High Republic stuff as much as I did. It said it didn't matter at the beginning, but it does. But that's just what I do. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in a few seconds for the next one.